Good afternoon. How are you? Well, it's a beautiful day out. 60 degrees. Thomas Jefferson assures me that's the case. The humidity is 87%, and until about an hour ago, it sure looked like it meant rain, and maybe it does, but it's not here yet. And the wind is at 10 miles an hour, and I can feel a slight breeze, but it doesn't feel anything like 10. There are protests today, and I'm encouraged by the turnout, and it gives a focus to the resistance of Americans to the misconduct and lack of guidance or action by the person who ran for office and who is president, Trump. He's off playing golf, watching it, making money from it, doing whatever he does. And there's not much more that I feel like talking about that today because I've been caught by a surprise. I don't know if you've watched Neil Katyal. He's a brilliant lawyer. He was the Solicitor General, and I got to know him really in the green room at NBC and MSNBC, and I think maybe other places. And so there were times when we sat together watching someone say something before we were going to go on the air and talk about it on the air. And we had different kinds of clerkships. I assume he clerked for the Supreme Court. I did not, but I don't know that. I don't remember it anyhow. And so why is he on my mind? He's on my mind because he's done something apparently that just doesn't strike me as what Neil would do. He's a man who fights for individual rights. He's a pleasant advocate. I've always been proud to have anything to do with him. And it turns out that the law firm he's with has become the subject of Trump's executive order. And the executive order is you can't talk to federal employees, you can't go into a federal building, you can't you can't have security clearances, okay? And his firm, and he's a partner in the law firm, his firm has decided to fold and to do what Trump wants them to do and to sign this agreement. And the agreement removes these obstructions to his firm practicing in the way they normally practice, provided in addition that the firm agree to provide $100 million of pro bono legal services on matters, issues that Trump cares about. Now, let's consider that for a minute. We have Trump basically running a protection racket against law firms that are in some fashion, however attenuated, associated with criticism or opposition to Trump. That is what free speech is about. Access to the courts, access to the federal buildings, and lifting security credentials based on the fact that you did something that is permissible, that is, have a different opinion than Trump. Now, other courts, well, first of all, courts have already decided that this regimen is not right, and there are temporary restraining orders against the president's executive orders, meaning there's already, in the short term, precedents against accepting this protection racket that Trump wants to proceed with. And the other part of it is how I couldn't even imagine myself, say, sitting in an office and having a senior partner come in and say to me, John, here's so-and-so from Trump's office, and they want to do X, Y, and Z against, I don't know, transgender women, or stop those in the military from doing A, B, or C, and all sorts of things that I personally would disagree with. I would be compelled by this agreement by the law firm to do things that I believe are wrong and should ethically object, particularly if I consider them unconstitutional. But as of this moment, Neil hasn't protested or objected to this, and he hasn't resigned from the firm. Now, it's his business whether he resigns or not, but it is our concern that a person who's on the air making certain comments finds a way to be consistent with those values, I think. Now, I suppose the final vote is not in on what he's going to do and how he's negotiating his presence in the firm. But I'm sure that whatever agreement he made with the law firm, it did not include succumbing to the police state intervention of Trump against his adversaries and, in his opinion, enemies, and a requirement as a settlement that they give away $100 million tax-free to Trump. Now, when I read this, my wife Holly said it reminded my reaction to Rudy Giuliani. And they seem like distant figures, and Neil has not done anything comparable. But between the two men, see, I worked with Rudy Giuliani when he was young. He was a Bobby Kennedy Democrat. He was helpful as a somewhat older member of the firm. He was 2 years ahead of me when he got there, which is a lot of time in a prosecutor's office to learn things. And he sat with me and had suggestions on things I might try to do when I did a summation. And to this day, I still use elements of those conversations. I worked on a case with him after I left the U.S. Attorney's Office and I went to D.C. and he came to New York, this time as a Republican. I sold him my apartment on the east side of Manhattan, near Gracie Mansion. So when he came out over the years in this new character, I just scratched my head. Now, this situation with Katyal is quite different, but it is reminiscent of the disparity between the Rudy I knew when he was younger and the Rudy he became. And if Neil doesn't act in a way that reassures us who he is, he's now part of a regimen of surrendering the values, the Sixth Amendment values, the Fifth Amendment values, perhaps the Fourth Amendment values, the First Amendment values, to Trump. It's not tolerable. And so as much as I feel affection and respect for Neil, I just can't get past him doing this. And I often say about political leaders, they'll break your heart. Now, I never for a moment thought Neil would do anything like this. And I've had calls from people in New York and so forth that I know and respect. And they say his celebrity has gone to his head. I don't know that, because I haven't really seen him in person now for several years. And I've followed him on the air, but I haven't been with him. It's a little bit like the interregnum with Rudy Giuliani. I'd see him from time to time, and then not at all. Had a picture taken, and then he became this, I don't know, rogue lawyer who would do anything that he or Trump thought would be helpful for Trump winning. And I think it worked out for Trump, I suppose, maybe not for Rudy. And Neil is in this situation, having never embraced Trump, deferring to him. And his advocates were not expected, perhaps, to fall on the grenade, but this isn't falling on the grenade. This is discomforting. This is difficult. This is about this is about the kind of respect you get for who you are. So, sad to say, it's changed my view of Neil, and I'm hoping, against hope maybe, that there will be something that suggests he appreciates that and has a formula. He's a very smart man to get past what his firm has decided to do, of which he's a partner. So, the other issues concern me, but I found this one distracting and disappointing. And my images of us jumping between seats and couches and looking at a thin plasma screen and people talking about things we were going to talk about in a few minutes. So we're talking about impeachment a lot, talking about other things like that. So that's what I got today. And so I say goodbye on this sunny afternoon where green is in every direction. I'm hearing birds again. So we're in a good time again. And I say goodbye to you from my cathedral of trees until tomorrow. Bye-bye.